Good afternoon to you. It is 4:06. We are live from our Kingdom Financial Group studio here at 5th and State. Also live on Facebook and on YouTube, having the crucial conversations that Erie needs. And I'm excited to welcome back into studio Randy Newport. He's the Executive Director of the Women's Care Center. Randy, good to see you, sir.
It's great seeing you too, Joel. Thanks for having me.
You got it. And want to introduce Brie Bleil. She is a sonogram technician at the Women's Care Center. Brie, welcome.
Thank you.
We're a family show. We'd like to hear origin stories. How did you come up? Did you grow up here in Erie or did you transplant in?
No, I was born and raised in Harbor Creek.
There you go.
What, 10 minutes?
You're a
from
Husky?
Yes.
Proud?
I am. My kids all graduated from there. I only have one left.
How do you learn about being a sonogram technician? What's the kind of the education process? Are you like a nurse or a tech, or how does that work?
We're a technician. So I went to school at Great Lakes for 18 months. So it was 9 months of actual in school and then 9 months of an externship at a hospital.
And they actually have specifically sonogram technician coursework.
So it's called a diagnostic medical sonographer.
Oh,
so
fantastic.
My title's DMS at the end.
Yeah. Diagnostic medical stenographer. Mm-hmm. And so technically you could, I mean, they use sonograms for all kinds of things, right?
Oh, yeah.
For hips and...
Yeah, I mean, bone structures are hard.
Are they?
Yeah, so anything super hard is hard to penetrate through, but like any soft tissue masses or pretty much every organ except your lungs. We could not look at your lungs, but... Okay.
That's wild.
Yeah.
And of course,
obviously babies.
You do the baby,
yes,
look inside the baby watch. And I mean, again, you think about how we grew up, Randy. There were no sonograms for my parents. You know, I mean, I think that all rolled around maybe mid 70s or something like that.
They've been around a long time, but you probably didn't have
They're
them
very different now.
Yeah.
Are they? Yeah.
From a little pixelated picture to now, you got 3D, 4D images that you can see what your baby looks like right in the womb.
Amazing stuff. And we're going to talk about the how this impacts the whole range of things that you offer at the Women's Care Center. But let's start with the mission and the history of the Women's Care Center, Randy.
All right. So the Women's Care Center, we've been part of the Erie community for 43 years. So we're a long-standing organization that's been blessed to have a lot of community support. Our primary purpose is really to help women that are going through a crisis or unplanned pregnancy and make sure they have all the wraparound supports they need to continue the pregnancy with, again, whether it's we make sure they have medical supports. We make sure they have education supports and resources. Again, we want to make sure they have everything they need to take away any barriers they may have to thinking they can't be a parent.
I mean, how does it work, like financially? Because I mean, if you think about it, most medical services or even counseling services are fee based, right?
I think that's one of the things that it surprises the girls that come in is that everything we do is free. Like we have very generous supporters, individual donors as well as businesses that allow us to operate and do what we do without having to charge the clients anything. It's amazing.
And so let's define terms. What is a considered a unplanned pregnancy or as you call it,
it's I guess the best way to define it is somebody goes out and has sex and they're not expecting to get pregnant. They're not planning on getting pregnant. And all of a sudden they've missed their period and they want a pregnancy test and they come in and they find out, oh my gosh, what am I going to do now? I am pregnant and I really wasn't expecting this.
And you give the pregnancy test even if they don't have access to that.
Oh yeah, that's you. So every girl comes in, we confirm their pregnancy with a medical grade pregnancy test. So that's one of the first things we do is we'll confirm it with the test, and then they'll get scheduled with Brie, and we'll do an ultrasound to confirm viability, and we'll date the pregnancy, which she can tell you more about that.
Wow. Oh yeah. Well, let's go there. I mean, like, how early can you date a pregnancy? I mean, this is really medically sound stuff here.
Yeah. I mean, so that is kind of, there's a two-part answer to that. So
Okay.
if we're talking about abdominally, where we wouldn't have to go like an internal ultrasound,
Right.
6 weeks, 3 days and beyond is probably our best bet. Can I see it sooner? Sure, but everything's got to be perfect to get to that.
Okay.
If we were to go internally, like 5 weeks, 5 days, 5 weeks, 6 days, but we like to do abdominally if possible, just less invasive.
Sure. So 6 weeks basically is when you're discovering, and at 6 weeks, if what are you seeing on that sonogram?
So we'll see the baby itself. So we do a measurement. It's called crown rump length, and so it's literally like the crown, the top of the baby's head, and the rump being the baby's bottom. That's a measurement that gives us the most accurate dating of a pregnancy. So we'll see the crown rump length, and then we'll see the fetal heart rate. So we'll see the little heart beating. And we look for a structure called the yolk sac, and that is like the feeding source until the placenta takes over. So you'll see it looks like a white donut right next to the baby. So we look for like 5 parameters. So those are 3 of the 5. The other one is like the gestational sac. It's like a black hole. It kind of is like the baby's jacuzzi suite. We want it to be nice and round. And then the other thing is this white halo that kind of goes around that sac. And it's called a double decidual sac sign. So it just tells us it's real.
How often are you seeing women at the 6, that early? Because I would imagine not everybody's that in touch with their cycles, I guess.
No, I mean, I feel like everyone is about 6 weeks. Nowadays, they can take a test that's like days before they're even due for their period. So it's like very, very early now. It's like a running joke, but we always say like, oh, they're 5 minutes pregnant. But it is insane how quick you can find out now.
Wow. What I mean, when you think about, because this wasn't always part. I mean, obviously the technology didn't exist 43 years ago, but this was a big jump when the Women's Care Center started offering sonograms, right? I mean,
so I remember when we had our first sonogram, because the funny thing is we introduced it at a banquet. So we do a banquet for life where we share what we do, but my wife, Kelly, was the model. So we did a live sonogram for the banquet, and she was the model for the banquet. And so we're down at the Bel Air, down when I was there.
8th Street, yeah.
And so they have the sonogram on the big screen, and they're looking at the baby, which is really cool because, again, this was like a huge movie projector screen. And they're looking at my child, and my mom's like, oh. And we didn't want to know what the sex was. We had no desire. Yeah. We wanted to be a surprise. She's like, oh my gosh, did you see that? Did you see that little thing right there?
Oh, jeez.
And so she's doing this live, like,
right.
And she's like, yeah, she announced it was a boy to the world. And that's how my son Jonathan was outed as a boy.
Right.
So.
Was that your first?
That was my second.
Your second,
But at that time, again, it was very pixelated. It wasn't a real super clear image.
How old is Jonathan? What year would that have been?
So that would have been 22 years ago.
Okay. So right at 2003.
So that was the first ultrasound that the center had, which is donated by, again, a very generous supporter.
Wow.
And now if you look at the difference in imaging, it's absolutely amazing. You can see a picture of the baby before it's born in the womb, and then a picture after the baby's born, and it's identical. Mm-hmm. So when people talk about that this isn't life, they really need to take a look at these images, because you can't deny the baby that you're looking at, the fingers, the toes, the little eyes, the eyebrows, everything.
When we can watch things, like we can see them open their eyes, and we see them looking around and swallowing and sucking their thumbs and hiccuping and smiling, frowning. You watch that live.
Wow.
Like, it's
cool. Do you find that the women come back to you for, they're getting a confirmation that they are pregnant with that first sonogram, but are you doing multiples, or are they generally doing that with their OB, I guess?
So one of the cool things about, again, what we provide is, so we provide what's called a bonding sono. So we have ongoing services to go through a stepping stones program, which is a learn to earn, which we're helping young parents understand the development of the baby, and then giving them the skills they need to be a little more confident with being a parent. But every 6 classes they go to, they get another sonogram. So in addition to what their doctor's providing, we time it out, and we can provide just an opportunity for mom and dad or mom just to see their baby, just because. There's no reason. It's just an opportunity for them to see the development of their baby.
Which is interesting, considering that oftentimes, the insurance will say, oh, you only get 1 or you only get 2, whereas here you're saying, hey, we're going to walk through this entire pregnancy with you and give you these opportunities to see your baby.
Yeah. So, I mean, again, this is probably one of the things, and Brie can tell you, it's probably one of the favorite things she enjoys, because these are people that are just really super excited to see how their baby's grown over that time period.
The talk about this earn to learn, however you call it, learn to earn, because again, it kind of pushes back on some of the notions that you're not for the whole fam. I mean, there's these narratives out there about crisis pregnancy centers, right?
The general rule, according to public perception, is that we only care about the baby and not the mother. That once we've helped the mom make the decision to have the baby, that we kind of toss her aside.
Yeah.
Which again, I love having this conversation, because it is so far from the truth with what we do. Because we will walk with these girls for as long as they want us to, no matter their decision. I mean, we're talking about how these girls and how we support them parenting. But the reality is not all these women choose to have the baby. Some will have an abortion. Mm-hmm. And we don't treat them any differently. We'll love them exactly the same way. And we want to make sure, again, no matter what they choose, that they have the supports they need to take care of. We want to help them to parent, but sometimes they need help just with their mental health and just the feelings they have when they made the decision to have an abortion. So we offer what's called post-abortive services. But the Stepping Stones program, which is the Learn to Earn, it really allows us to build relationship. And give these young parents an opportunity to have somebody to talk to about their fears or their concerns about being a parent. I mean, I grew up in a very healthy household. Mom and dad were there the whole time. And I taught this class for a little bit, and it was amazing to me, because I wish that I would have had something like this. Because even though I felt prepared, we were planning on having kids, and I just had no idea what I was doing. And to be able to walk with somebody that can answer your questions and tell you, for example, it's okay for a baby to cry. Mm-hmm. As a young dad, I was terrified when my daughter cried, because I didn't know what to do. And I wish somebody would have said, it's okay to let baby lay down for a couple minutes and just take a break and walk away. And it's okay. It doesn't mean you're a bad dad or bad parent. So I think it's really good. It's a great program for us to be able to walk parents through just the struggles of what parenting looks like.
That's amazing. We're talking to our friends from the Women's Care Center. Take our first break. It's 4:19. Talk Erie and the Joel Natale Show. Talking to our friends from the Women's Care Center of Erie County, 43 years providing services here in the Erie region. Randy Newport and Brie Bleil, I want to make sure that we handle this in the first half hour, guys, and that is your upcoming fundraisers. We just heard the commercial for the Walk Run for Life. Talk about that. That's coming right up here.
Yeah, so it's this Saturday. It's one of those things you asked about our funding, and that our events are a main resource for our revenue. So our walk is at Pleasant Ridge Park this Saturday. Our registration's at 9:30. We got a cross country run. So in the past we've run on the roads down to Presque Isle, but this year and last year we turned it into a cross country race.
Yeah.
Hoping the rain holds off a bit. I don't know how much people like running in the mud, but usually runners are a different breed.
Right, they are.
But we have all kinds of great events happening. I mean, we have bouncy houses and clowns and balloons, and it's a carnival theme. So there's all kinds of fun things going on. Lots of games, lots of food.
The baby crawl.
That's
what does that look
fun.
like?
We have mats down, and we literally entice these babies to race themselves across the mats.
Kind of like
That's
turtles,
fun.
but babies.
Pretty much. It's literally a lot of enticing. It's so funny
That's
watching
so
parents
cute.
try to get them across.
Yeah, so
Especially the competitive parents, right?
Your grandson will do it this year, right?
Oh, it's your grandson.
So my son Jonathan, who was outed on the screen, they have an 8-month-old, and they're trying to make him crawl, and he can get his butt up in the air, but he won't crawl.
I heard they were training. They were doing training.
He was very eager to get him into the race.
That's awesome. Yeah, even if you do the army crawl,
do
it.
I mean, rolling. We could get him to roll across.
So that's coming up, and it's one of those things that even if you wanted to show up on Saturday, they could still sign up. Yeah.
Yeah, if you wanna come and if you just want to come and take part in the picnic, it is a fundraiser. So we have auctions going on.
Sure.
So we have a lot of businesses that supported us and donated a lot of great items. So we have a silent auction and a basket auction or a basket raffle. But again, if you just want to come and learn more about the center, if you just want to come out and support, again, it is a really fun day. It really is a way for us to really celebrate our donors. And again, take a public stand for life.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And then coming up in July for the golfers, nice tournament there.
So yeah, it's one of those things that I wanted to do something that really enticed men to get involved. So I know women golf, but it seems like more of a dominant, because Brie golfs. But it's more of a dominant men's for our event anyways. And so we really started a golf event about 5 years ago. And it's really cool because we usually have a pretty full field, and we get about 34 teams.
Wow.
And so we're at Lakeshore Country Club, and we get started at noon. And again, you have a great lunch. You have a barbecue lunch. We usually have a steak dinner. And you get a round of golf at one of the best golf courses in Erie.
Absolutely.
And you hang out with us. Like, I'm not going to lie, Randy and I in a golf cart's pretty fun.
That sounds like fun. Amazing.
We're in the adult beverage cart. We do drive around on that cart.
And then there's a wheel you get to spin, and you could win a prize or a booby prize. You don't know which one you're going to get, but it's that chance you take.
And for those business owners and small businessmen, they could still sponsor a hole and things like that for the golf tournament, right?
Oh, absolutely. So again, I know Kingdom Financial is one of your main sponsors, and they're one of our main sponsors too. But yeah, if there's a business that just wants to kind of get their name out there and put a little support to the center and support, what we do to help women, it's a great opportunity just to get your name out in front of, about 150 people.
That's cool. And then in September is kind of the big event, and you said it's grown to 2 nights.
So our banquet, we outgrew the convention center, and now we're over 2 nights at the Ambassador.
Wow.
We do a Friday and a Saturday event, and again, to me, it's a very formal event. You dress up in a suit and a dress, and you come and you have a great meal. But you also get to hear, we really highlight our clients. So we have them tell their stories on how the center has helped them with probably one of the most difficult decisions they made in their life. This year, one's going to be an adoption story where a girl's she's going to talk about a very tragic situation, but she's going to tell you about how she came to the understanding of what adoption was, and how she was able to bless another family that couldn't have kids with her child. Wow. So it's again, it's a very formal event. It's a very different event from the other two, but it's a great date night. We have, I think the last couple of years we've been pushing 600 to 700 people between the two nights. It is a very amazing, elegant night. So I would highly recommend, if you're able to, if you're interested in doing that's at the end of September. I
was going to say, is that kicked into gear now as far as people buying tables and things like that, or does that come up in a little bit?
Well, I try not to overwhelm my event planner.
Oh, that's a good idea.
So I really wanted to get through the walk and maybe get started into the golf, but invitations, we really start the push at the end of July.
One more event in the middle of all that, we got to remind people, is Erie Gives. How does the Women's Care Center do for Erie Gives? Do you usually have a pretty good run for that?
We have just tremendous, faithful donors.
Yeah.
We're usually in the top 20.
That's fantastic.
And I'm really excited this year because one of the things that we've always struggled with Erie Gives is that there's fees when you donate online. And again, I don't know how much they put this out there, but they found a way to cover the fees. So now 100% of your donations, whether you're giving to the center or you're giving to another local charity, all of it goes to that charity.
Well, yeah, now you as a donor can cover that fee. And so what I got as a receipt was actually all of that. And then you guys got the $25. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like, that's how that would work, you know?
Well, now from what I understand, they're going to cover the fees. So now they're going to cover the credit card fees.
Fantastic. So Erie Gives, think about the Women's Care Center for sure. Huh?
Oh, absolutely. Again, we are, I'm a little biased, but I think that we are we are the best organization in Erie.
There you go. You heard it from the executive director. We'll be back after the news. Randy and Brie are with us here from the Women's Care Center. It's Talk Erie and the Joel Natale Show here. On a Wednesday, we usually have a health and wellness focus. We're excited to have our friends from the Women's Care Center, Randy Newport, Executive Director of the Women's Care Center. Also, Brie Bleil. She's a sonogram technician at the Women's Care Center. And I want to kind of go into kind of the current climate. Because not everything is breezy. You encounter obstacles. There's a lot of emotions behind the kinds of work that you do. Can you talk a little bit about that? Yeah.
So I think anytime you're talking about abortion or life, it's a very polarizing topic that it really makes sometimes it makes our jobs difficult, and it makes people hesitant to come see us because they don't know what to expect.
Right.
There's a lot of the perception, again, is that we're going to push them in one direction or another. And our job is not to push any girl into a decision that she's not prepared to make. And I think that's one of the things that I don't think people understand is, for us, it's her decision, not ours. We are going to give her all the information to make the best possible decision she can for herself, because we're not the ones that have to live with whatever's decided. So we're just there to give her truth and love and just make sure she has what she needs.
And I mean, the idea is to give all the information.
That's
kind of a distinctive, isn't it?
So when we have girls that come in that again are going through an unplanned or crisis pregnancy, we want to make sure again that we talk about all three options, and the three options are parenting, adoption, and abortion. And we don't shy away from any one of those subjects. We want to be totally open with the girls to make sure that they understand again what the impact of any one of those choices is going to have on them. And I think it's kind of cool because the center, a lot of people don't know this, but we have an adoption agency built right into the Women's Care Center. Right. And so if that's a position that the girl wants to explore, we're able to do that in-house. So we can walk them through what an open adoption looks like. But yeah, we want to make sure they have the information to make the best decision for themselves.
And sometimes you even get pushback of saying, hey, by just giving the information about what happens when an abortion happens, right? I mean, what happens when, somebody takes that, what is it,
RU486.
Yeah.
I think that when you have an opportunity, and Brie, again, works with these girls directly.
Yeah.
I think that when you have an opportunity just to sit down and talk to them about, again, what they're facing with whether they're considering the abortion pill or they're considering abortion, again, or even parenting or adoption, we want to make sure that they know the risks involved with those things. And again, Brie can tell you that a lot of the girls, when they come to us, there's a level of trust that gets developed quickly. So they will listen and they will ask great questions. And a lot of times they are very hesitant when they walk in the door. But by the time you get to the counseling room and you're really talking through their decision, their guards let down and they're able to listen to what we have to say. And we have great conversations. And I think that's one of the things that people don't fully understand is that we're not there to railroad anybody,
right?
But we want to make sure they have somebody that's going to hear their story and that we're going to be able to give them the information so that they can make the best decision for themselves. And, we may personally not be in favor of abortion, but again, our job is to make sure that they have the best information to make the choice that's best for them. Again, we want them to parent. We want to make sure they're supported in that, but we're not there to tell them what to do.
How often, Brie, do you encounter a client that there just seems to be a lot of outside pressure on that young woman?
Probably every day. I mean, almost every client has outside pressures or circumstances. I guess the best advice we can always give is don't make a decision based on circumstance. Our circumstance changes all the time. I could win the lottery tomorrow and money is not an object anymore. So we have to kind of take their hurdles and kind of put them aside. And let's focus on right now and what is best in your world and what can you live with. Because ultimately that's going to be what happens down the road is, can you live with this decision? Is this something that aligns with your moral code?
Right. The obviously the political climate is such that for years there was significant funding, not a huge amount, but there was a decent amount of funding for abstinence education and for help for the mission of the Women's Care Center and other organizations like yours. That's all been vetoed out by Josh Shapiro. Can you talk about the circumstances of all that?
So we got a reimbursement for state money that was earmarked for abortion alternatives.
Okay.
It was brought in by Bob Casey senior when he was governor. He put it aside specifically for places like the Women's Care Center and other PRCs across the state. And it's been around for, I think we received it for, I don't know, almost 20 years.
I was going to say, Casey's a long time ago.
So it's been around for a while, and it was something that really helped. So what it did is it gave you reimbursement every time you worked with somebody that was pregnant.
Okay.
So you got your time reimbursed. So in the last, at the end of 23, beginning of 24, Governor Shapiro, he did end the program and took the money away from all the pregnancy centers. So that funding was wiped off the table.
What was the justification? Again, you have representation in Harrisburg. What were your people telling you why this came to be? I mean, because it was Democrat, Republican administrations, it was still there. Tom Wolf didn't get rid of it.
No, it's again, we've had a lot of Democratic governors that were in between, and they held to it. I think there was a lot of negotiating to keep it in. I think the Republicans had a much stronger hold in the House and in the state Senate, to where we had more bargaining power. When those majorities kind of went away, and it's a very tight margin now, I think it took away their bargaining power, and I think that Governor Shapiro took advantage of that.
Wow. And
unilaterally, and again, that's the reporting that I got, that he made that decision himself and wiped it out.
So what kind of impact did that make on your finances?
Well, it took about a quarter of our total revenues away.
25%.
Yeah. And so when you're as large as we are, that's a huge hit. So we've been blessed. I mean, we've had to make some serious adjustments, cutting back here and there, but we were blessed to have had, again, I don't know how, but people just give very generously when you're facing something like this. And people stepped up and really helped us overcome a lot of that. We have a great partnership with the Knights of Columbus. And so they really started doing a baby bottle campaign in the Catholic diocese in Erie and Crawford counties. And they get 40 churches that will work together to make sure that there's funding for not only just the Women's Care Center up here in Erie, but the other pregnancy centers, the Pregnancy Center in Meadville, and as well as the Burroughs Women's Clinic out in Edinburgh. So they really have stepped up to help offset the loss that we had. Doesn't take it all, but it definitely helps.
Given that there's a Republican administration in Congress, or excuse me, in the White House, you have Republicans in Congress. Does that really mean a lot for pregnancy centers across the country, you think?
I mean, I can't speak for everybody. I can speak for us. We don't get a lot of federal funds.
Yeah.
I think you mentioned the abstinence, being able to go into the schools and provide education. I think that with a friendlier administration, you may see grant money opened up to be able to do those things, more education related. But that's about the benefit that I've seen is usually when we have a friendly administration federally, that the grant money opens up to be able to do like school projects and education initiatives.
I think in maybe share a story here or two, but I mean, the Women's Care Center has kind of broadened itself out with all the services. I mean, it's really a community asset here, right? I mean, you're interfacing with other nonprofits, you're interfacing with the schools, obviously with the general public. Talk about all that.
And again, I'll let Brie speak a little to this, but that's one of the things I'm probably most proud of is because, the picture's painted that if you don't have the same belief system, that you can't work together. And I can tell you stories, and Brie could tell you stories where we have people from the abortion clinics in Pittsburgh or Buffalo that are sending girls back to Erie to come and see us before they make their decisions. So I mean, it's just amazing how, again, we're painted as we hate each other and we won't talk to each other, we won't work together. But at least on their end, I mean, we don't send people to the clinics. We don't do it that way, but we have them sending girls to us for help. But we have such great relationships with all the social service agencies in Erie. If you work with women and you can help provide services to women that are going through pregnancy, we're working together. We're referring to you. They're referring to us. Again, and we haven't really even hit on the medical side because we have great relationships with the hospitals. We have great relationships with places like the health department. We have these partnerships that, again, I don't think when I get to go nationally and talk to other directors across the country, they are shocked to hear about the relationships we have with our social service agencies.
Well, I think it has something to do with also the scale here. Let's face it, the Women's Care Center has grown. It's one of the largest in the country.
And again, nobody knows that. We're known as the best kept secret in Erie, but we are one of the largest in the country because of how multifaceted we are.
Yeah.
With all the different types of services that we're able to provide. And we're looking to expand on that and even get bigger as far as like looking to go more medical. I know during the break we were talking about our medical mobile clinic, which is essentially we can go out to any girl that needs help, and we can provide the same services that we provide at our brick and mortar building. So we have a state-of-the-art ultrasound machine. The mobile clinic is designed and it's medically safe. Like it's designed to meet the standards of California. If you understand what that means.
They always set the standard.
Their regulations are outrageous, but this was designed to be able to be in California and meet the code and regulations they have there. Wow. So it's a great opportunity again for us to expand and advance and be able to get to the girls that don't have the opportunity to get to us.
Is that especially like in rural areas, Brie? Is that what we're talking about here?
Yeah, I mean, well, we've gone to places that are local here where maybe that gal can't get to us.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, we go to other counties and try to help there where they've asked us and requested that we come and try to help their communities. We also listen to local OBGYNs. So local OBGYNs are always referring to us, and then they're telling us, hey, do you think you could get to? And then, we reach out and try to see if we can get there as well.
People need to realize that, like, there may be a woman that's about to give birth and will decide then and there for adoption, and you guys are on the hotline, right? I mean, I don't know if you're carrying a pager, but they certainly know your cell number.
So it's interesting you brought that up because that's changed a lot for us. Adoption used to look like we would have a girl that would be early in pregnancy. We would walk them through counseling to make sure they were prepared to go through with an adoption plan. And now it's exactly what you just said. The hospital calls us and they say, we have a girl that, for whatever reason, isn't able to care for her baby and she wants to do an adoption plan. And we answered the call just like that. And we essentially get dressed and we go to the hospital. We meet with the girl. And again, our job isn't to make her make the decision to do this. We really want to make sure that this is what she wants. So we bring families that she gets to profile, that she gets to look at, she needs to feel comfortable with. So yeah, we're on call. And again, my wife is one of those people that answers that call. So she's gone in the middle of the night. She's gone right down to the hospital to meet with these women to make sure, again, their needs are being met and they have somebody to talk to about whatever they're facing.
So the orientation, yes, is for the baby to live, but it's that orientation towards that mom.
I mean, her life matters just as much, right? So we have to look at her and love her as much as we love the baby, and we do. We love everyone.
Well, talk about about the guy. The guy is maybe not ready for the responsibility. How do you help? Again, you're a guy that's running this show, right? I mean,
I know that's the scary thing is the Women's Care Center, and they have a man.
It's actually the funnest thing ever is when we're like, oh, meet our executive director, Randy, at the Women's Care Center.
Right.
I think there's a comfort level that comes with the guys knowing that there's a guy there that they can talk to if they have questions.
So that
or they have fears.
you get called in a lot for that.
I get offered and called in, yeah. I mean, and Brie works with mom and dad. So I mean,
Sure.
she can tell you those interactions when they're looking at that baby for the first time on the screen, and how they respond, and how, again, a lot of times, I wish it was all the time. It just melts their hearts, and it really allows them to see, again, the life that's there inside of them.
Well, I also think men nowadays, you grew up your whole life being told it's a woman's body, a woman's choice. So their initial response or reaction is always, whatever you want. Go ahead. I support whatever you decide, but they will not voice what they actually want. And in the ultrasound room, I am always encouraging them to voice what they want to. And 9 times out of 10, they do want the baby. They just are too scared. And she wants him to say he wants the baby. But neither of them will say those things to one another. And it's kind of neat, like sitting back and getting to kind of orchestrate a conversation that should be happening in private, but I'm witnessing it. But it's neat to see these men step up, and we want them to be involved. And we really encourage, that's part of the bonding process, right? Like these men bonding before birth is huge. And doing that bonding sauna with these men is so cool. It's so cool.
I'm going to push you here at the last couple of minutes with the Women's Care Center, because some people think that our society is such that we're becoming a culture of death. But do you see that? Or is that overstated?
I think the answer is a little mixed. I think that you're looking at a generation that, one, is very desensitized because of what they can look at on their phone. So the impact of even the ultrasound it's not as powerful as it was in the past. But I believe that the generation coming up right now is a pro-life generation. I think because of what they can see on their phone, there's more information out that's counteracting what is being said about this culture of death, it's women's health care. I think that you have a generation that's coming up that is looking at and seeing the life inside of the womb, and they know it's a baby. So I think you have a pro-life generation coming up, and I think that you're going to see a very powerful life movement moving forward with these high school and college students that are coming. I'm seeing that. I mean, if you've ever gone to a march down in DC, it isn't a bunch of old people.
No, it isn't, is it?
It's young. It's a very young generation, and I think it's just getting more and more prominent that they're understanding the development of their body and understanding, again, the development of the baby that's coming. So I don't even want to believe that we're in a culture of death. We do see a lot of it with the decisions that are made, but I just feel like there's something changing. There's something moving right now that I think you're going to see life as a more prominent issue, but it's not. It's going to be because they see the value in life.
You want to weigh in on that?
I totally agree. I have teenagers, and so I'm really involved in school things, and I am witnessing these conversations, these debates that are happening even on the hot topic of abortion, and it's astounding to me what they can come up with and what they rationalize at 15 years old, that they know it's a baby. I think they're so scientific, right? That they're like, well, yeah, it's a baby. Like, look, it does this, that, and another, and they are able to like see that. And I don't know, we've had long conversations about this, but it's really cool. It's really cool to like see them and listen to them. And
I think that's why it's important, again, for what we do, because our job is to educate. Mm-hmm. And whether we're doing it in the sauna room, whether we're doing it in the counseling room, or we're doing it in the classroom, we have opportunity to go. And again, we have great partnerships with a lot of the local schools, and our presenters are able to go in and talk about. Again, we have a more of a healthy relationship focus, but we have very open conversations about what that looks like, and again, what the center does.
Yeah, I can imagine that the conversations are more frank than they've ever been. Very, very cut to the chase.
Oh, yeah.
We don't waste time anymore. Like there's no small talk. It's just straight to the point of what they want, what kids want to know, which is I like straightforward. Sure. Just say what you want, ask what you want to hear, and let's have the conversation.
Mm-hmm.
We've got Randy and Brie here again. The event is Saturday. The walk and run. It's a carnival. You can come and eat some good food and hang out with some
hot dogs,
people.
Hamburgers, chips, all kinds of stuff.
I'm not gonna lie. We've been doing the baskets for the auctions, and They're pretty good. I'd come just for that if it was me.
Well, there you go. Randy Newport, Brie Bleil, thank you so much. And God bless you guys. I really appreciate it.
Thank you.
We wouldn't be here without the Lord.
Amen.